Costa Rica is very diverse also, not only because of the influence of the sea, but also because there is a very high mountain range that divides the country it's a continental division that makes the Caribbean and the Pacific slopes. So we have from 0 meters over sea level to almost 3,900 meters over sea level. And this different elevation, together with the precipitation and the fact that we have a rainy season and a very marked down dry season, make many different ecosystems in Costa Rica. For example, the tropical dry forest in the North Pacific of Costa Rica, the tropical rainforest in the South Pacific and all the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica. And then in high elevation we have tropical cloud forest, which is in between 1,600 meters to 1,900 meters high. And even higher than that, we have a subalpine forest that we inherit from the highest mountains of South America that have the same kind of vegetation, which is very short vegetation than in our highest mountains. Everything was full of life, and the music of the birds, the lava of our volcanoes, which was super impressive to see, the earthquakes that we have every month make you feel that you are in something that is completely alive. In Corcovado, I have seen the truth about what scientists are trying to explain to us. Where Costa Rica has 5% of the biodiversity of the planet, Corcovado has 2.5% the diversity of the planet. National Geographic Society described it as the highest biologically intense place on Earth. I've never been in a forest in Costa Rica with such an intensity. It really inspired me to be walking around and find sometimes footprints of a jaguar, and not too far away from there, footprints of a puma. And then be able to see tapirs, tapirs which are so difficult to see in other places of Costa Rica, or scarlet macaws, or so many different species of snakes, insects, plants. The size of the trees were in Corcovado are very different from the size of the trees of the rest of the rainforest of Costa Rica. The fact that this was an island completely isolated, and as the rest of Costa Rica emerged from the ocean bottom as an archipelago of volcanic islands, eventually Osa Peninsula crashed against the main continental land and it became a peninsula. But for thousands of years was isolated, having a species of trees and plants and insects that only exist here, nowhere else in Costa Rica. This rainforest is so perfectly balanced that nothing is wasted. Everything is recycled. Everything is reused. Everything is perfectly in balance. For example, a standing up dead tree like that is going to be the motherhood. It's going to be the beginning of life. In this case, we see the nest of a toucan right there and the hole on the tree trunk. But there is many other species of birds that will only nest and depend on standing up dead trees like this one, including woodpeckers, Trogon's family, one of them extremely famous, the quetzal. If the quetzal doesn't have standing up dead trees, they would not nest. That means there's not going to be a next generation. What are they going to do without a dead tree? They cannot survive. Well, this is a group of leafcutter ants. It's one of the most famous species of insects in Corcovado. And this is one of the most classical examples of symbiosis. What is symbiosis? Symbiosis is when two different species are interrelated and are helping each other, and they coexist, and actually they depend on each other. One cannot live without the other. The leaf cutters do not eat leaves. What they do is they make a compost with the leaves where they plant their fungus. Their fungus doesn't exist anywhere else in the forest, and that's what they eat, fungus. The fungus lives only inside of their nest. The fungus completely depends on the ants, and the ants completely depends on the fungus. This is very, very fragile. If we take something from the forest, we're going to affect many other species, because everything here is completely interrelated. That's why this forest, although it's so majestic and seems so powerful, is so fragile and so important that we preserve it the way it is. The spider monkey, which is the most agile of all because have longer arms, longer legs, and longer tail. Plus the fact that it doesn't have a thumb, so that makes them even more agile up in the branches. So that's why the name is spider monkey. A spider monkey is very special because it feeds from fruits, basically. And they swallow the seeds. So when the seeds pass through the digestive system, the seed loses all the layers that cover it. And then once it goes through the intestine, gets a lot of nutrients. And once the feces of the monkey fall down with the seed, those seeds will be ready almost 100% to germinate. So these monkeys are extremely important in ecology because they're like planting seeds everywhere. Yes, well, not only a long time ago, but still the native indigenous nowadays, they come to the forest and they have tissues to be very respectful for what we can take or not what to take. For example, they use these leaves of this palm tree named suita to weave the leaves together and make roof for their bungalows where they live inside of the forest. But they don't just come and cut the tree, they come and ask for permission to the spirits of the forest, to their god. But also they ask permission to the plant. And also they're going to cut maybe 3 leaves here, 3 leaves there, 2 leaves there, 2 there, but they're not going to take all the leaves. So this is a very important example of respect for nature, be able to use what we need without doing any damage. Sour cane, yes, is one of the most popular medicinal plants in our country. And it has a very interesting feature because it lives here where there is a lot of shade caused by the canopy of the trees. Here in the understory, plants have to develop strategies to grow faster and to win in the competition for light and for space. In this case, if you notice the leaves, it's growing in a spiral so that every single leaf can get enough light for its photosynthesis and be a healthy plant and be a winner in this competition. So here the adaptation of the mangrove trees is amazing. They have a special glands that helps them to get rid of salt constantly. In this area, in the biggest mangrove forest of all this Pacific coast of Central America, we have 6 different species of mangrove. White mangrove, red mangrove, black mangrove, gentleman mangrove, pineapple mangrove, etc. So it's really unique. There is not any other place that have so much biodiversity in Costa Rica like here, where these 2 ecosystems meet. Now the mangrove forest is extremely important because it's like a wall, a defense from hurricanes, from cyclones, and even from tsunamis. In the other hand, the root system here from the mangrove trees are like nurseries for a lot of the sea life and river life. Also, these are filters that take care of the sediments and the silt of the river, so that this doesn't go to the ocean and be deposited over the coral reefs, because this will be a disaster for the coral reef. So the mangrove are very, very important. Unfortunately, most of them throughout the Pacific coast of Central America has been cut down for their tannins, to give color to leather and also to make charcoal. So it's super important that we preserve the Terraba and Sierpe mangrove because it's the only one that remains. I have seen very good things happening, like Corcovado have right now the healthiest populations to all Costa Rica of tapirs, of scarlet macaws, and jaguars, right? Which are very endangered in other areas of Costa Rica or totally disappear, right? So this is very good things that we have accomplished with conservation of Corcovado. I see places like Casa Corcovado where they have made a tremendous effort and spent a lot of money and education to all of the workers, because I used to work here 12 years ago, and now they are certified. You know, a hotel could be 5 stars, but to have sustainable certification, they have 5 leaves. This hotel have 5 leaves. First of all, because they started to educate all of the workers so that we do recycle, so that we learn how to use the electricity, or learn how to save water. In other words, be very aware of many things that 12 years ago nobody was aware here. So I recognize Casa Corcovado Lodge as one enterprise that have done a tremendous effort, and it's a very good example to the rest of the business in the area, like Drake Bay, and the whole peninsula of Osa, and for the rest of Costa Rica also is a very good example of how development should be done in harmony with nature. For Costa Rican children, not only, but also for children of the world, I would say that there is a saying that says, take care of the land, someday you will be part of it. I would change that. I would say we are part of it right now. Because if it's not because of the production of oxygen, because of the carbon dioxide fixing that the forest and the sea is constantly doing, we will have a very serious global warming problem right now, even bigger than what is happening in the planet. Plus, we wouldn't have oxygen, and we need oxygen to survive. So we are part of this, and it's our responsibility to take care of it. It's our responsibility to be educated, to learn how important this is for our life and for our life of our children and the children of our children, and so on.